Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Voice in the Baltic Star. We are here. It's Friday night, and there's three of us here. And when it's Friday, and all three of us are here, we play Traveller, and that's what we're doing this evening. It's a wonderful thing. We haven't been able to do it as often as we would have liked to over the last few months because of life. But this is 2 weeks in a row. My goodness, I get nosebleed, Traveller nosebleeds, the pace that we're working. And we went to 3 planets last week. I'm all confused. We've been to 3 planets in about the last 2.5 years. So it's shocking pace we've been going at. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If it's your first time, you're very, very, very welcome. Thank you for giving us a try. If it is your 3rd time, your 5th time, your 10th time, your 100th time, you're still welcome. And good evening to our friend Giannis, otherwise known as John Legitimine from Greece. He is our marbled Adonis, and he's in chat for now. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, our friends. A pleasure to have you with us. And we're looking forward to some Tony and Rudy in the new year where he stars, and you'll get to see how beautiful a man he is. But for tonight, you're stuck with the three of us. And as said before, we're playing Traveller, which is a science fiction game. One of the classics. We're playing the newer edition, the Mongoose edition, a game that we play quite slowly compared to other people, so bear that in mind. Good evening, Strain. I saw you followed us this evening. I recognise your name, and thank you so much for joining us. Ewan always looks sharp. It's just been a good Christmas for him. So anyway, without further ado, we are going to run 2 hours, 2.5 hours this evening. So stay for as long or short as you want. We won't take you personally unless you leave a big message saying you suck, I'm leaving. It's a long time and we all have a lot of things to do in life. So thank you for staying for a while at least. We'll take a break at some point in the middle. So there's a chance for you to go to the loo, do what you need to do. And then we'll have a toast in the second half. So if you do stay for the second half, make sure you have a glass or mug of something. It's a very important toast. It's tradition on the channel. Chat is very friendly, as you can see. Please feel free to chat or lurk. We will get involved in chat when we're not particularly busy as well. Some of us can even multitask, I believe. Some things you say in chat may come into the game. We're very interactive. We will stop and chat to regulars, and new people alike. Ideas that come up or things you want us to say, we might pop in there. Or you can just chat amongst yourselves and ignore us altogether. Totally up to you. We do. I tell you what, John, I love. There you go. Sorry, we love our lurkers. They're there. Look, we love our lurkers. Click the red sun to spend some Imperial credits. Anything that's a dark pink will play a tune. That's always fun. I've left the lizards on tonight because I'm a glutton for punishment, and we are heading to a terrifying ship at some point, so it's only fitting that the lizards hang around for a while. Good evening, Russ. How are you doing? I hope things are good for you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you as well. Other things, the more expensive things, you can name an NPC, that becomes canon, so you can become part of canon forever in the game. You can make one of our characters tell a tale. You can give us a boon, which we love. Make one of us stop and give a minute of wisdom on a topic of your choice, whether it's fictional or the state of roadworks in our town. You can make one of our characters clonk something. You can make one of them tell a bad joke or quip. You can make Stefan try to steal something. Have a flick around, see what you like. One thing that we always have, and one thing we always will have, is for one single credit, so that anyone can get involved. It's I'll drink to that, where if we say something or do something, you can raise a glass or a mug or get us to, and we'll all drink to that moment. That one's especially important for Ben, because it's not Ben's night off, so the Ben's night off so he can drink is not on this evening. So the only way he can drink tonight is with a load of 1 credits. So he definitely would not drink without that, of course. He's a slave to the channel.
Absolutely.
So I think that's all that nonsense. I'll introduce us, then I'll hand over to our referee for the evening. So I'm in the bottom right-hand corner. Hello, my name is Luke. I'm in a hoodie and I'm starting to regret that because I sit right next to a radiator. So at some point the guns will well and truly be out. But while it's there, fins up. It's very rare. We're doing very well. I'm very excited. Directly above me, there he is. Look there. Look at him. The sharpest camera of all. He's looking good. And you know why he's looking good? Because he's my brother from another mother. He is the housewife's favourite and he's the Floofmeister General. He is the beautifully coiffured Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, look, I'm very good, thanks. I'm very good. Slightly overeaten and full, but other than that, I'm well.
Well, it is the season for that.
Exactly.
I'm glad to see that, just like me this year, you enjoyed some ginger wine, my favourite Christmas tipple.
Indeed. Yeah, it's very nice. And, in your honour.
Oh, thank you very much. I was thinking ginger beer, ginger wine, they go together perfectly. Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us as always, Ewan. Everyone will agree with me, those that watch regularly. Ewan is a wonderful person. He is the rose betwixt thorns. It's why I put him in the middle. Speaking of my other
Oh, do you get to choose?
yeah.
Sorry.
It's so we can fist bump if ever we need to. It's there for any required fist bump, so.
Nice.
And then also
speaking of thorns.
Yeah, speaking of thorns. And the reason why he's on top is because we're ordering in intelligence, and he is the smartest man in any room. He likes to live his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. And he's often carried around upon the shoulders of 6 heavily oiled, topless Eastern European men. I've seen them. They are handsome beyond belief, nipples glistening. Not that Ben notices such things, because he is always face deep in the rules to Traveller, making sure that our adventures and our experiences are as good as they can be, for he is the greatest referee anyone could wish for. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Very well. Yes. Looking forward to tonight. This should be a fun one. Revisiting old turf.
As turf as you can get in orbit on a metal gantry, I suppose. Is there any artificial grass up there at all, Ben?
There is not.
It's a shame. Any non-artificial grass?
Yeah. No, sadly not. The even the golf simulator isn't really a golf simulator.
No butchers from the 1980s laying out meat on fake grass.
Sadly, just nothing like that at all. No.
I don't want to be here very long, Ewan. Let's get off as quick as we can tonight.
Back to the real fake grass.
Yeah, come on. We've got some on the Baltic Star now. That's canon. We've got a room that's just got fake grass on the floor and the walls.
It's not a golf simulator, but we've got some clubs and some balls and a net thing. That's about it.
The golf room. I like it.
Yeah.
No one knows how to play golf. We just picked them up somewhere.
Golf's got to be a weird game in 0G, right?
It really is. I'm sure they did that in a Red Dwarf episode. They were playing golf on the moon and pinging it like 4 kilometers. So. Well, Ben, I hope you're well. I hope you're ready for New Year.
I am, very much so.
Fantastic. It's a year that ends in an even number, of course, which means it's your year that you become extra handsome.
That is the rumour. It's a rumour that I started and nobody else seems to believe, but nonetheless, it is the rumour.
I wondered who'd written it on the toilet door. It was you. Okay.
Yeah, for a good time, call me, please.
Yeah. Brackets, but only in an even numbered year.
Only an even numbered
You
year.
had it
here. Well, we're here with you for a good time, Ben, so it's worked. We heeded your call. And so please, show us a good time.
Okay. So our heroes left Osin for the second time, having collected Silsava, an old friend, and learnt a little about her. She's a lawyer with some ballet experience, it seems, a pretty good skill set for a former government functionary. Agnar, now becoming concerned for the welfare of the Moanth eggs in the hold, or possibly for the crew who might turn out to be lunch for them, asked their biologist, Rick Verlo, to keep an eye out for a suitable spot to leave them, somewhere with a sparse desert surface with plenty of unarmed inhabitants would be funny. Arriving at Habretic, they find a world that's corporate owned. Orbiting the pleasant little world, largely uninhabited because it's unexceptional and a bit out of the way, They went aboard the fueling station. Here they met Drim DeVorge, employee of the Great Rift Transport Corporation, the company that managed deep space transport to places the other companies just can't reach. It was the company that employed Zoe when they first met her, and the people who sent them on the mission to a remote station in the Rift, where bad things happened. Bad things. They managed to learn a potentially useful trick from him. GRT, working in the most remote parts of space, often encounter ships that are off course or in trouble, and obviously they help where they can. But if you want them to help really quickly, as if it's in their own interest to assist you, then the code phrase Blue Spark should be included in your Mayday message. After fully refueling, the Baltic Star jumped to Brytsee. This system, or more accurately its orbiting station, is where they first met Anton Fett, you know. I suspect they remember, probably. And as they stepped onto the station, they heard a booming voice come from the bar in the Nova section, a voice they recognized at once, saying, "The Claymore, now that's a story." And that is where we resume the story.
Tell me it's not Anton Fassbender, please.
It is not.
Whew.
John, don't use it up early. We need to save that for when we need it. For goodness sake, they listen to our chat as well, you know, GRT. I'm gonna try and use it during it as well. I doubt it'll go down very well at all. It's worth a try. Kara side eyes Agnar as that's a voice I recognise. Didn't expect that it'd be here though.
Oh, really? Who? What?
Kara's gonna look through to the trail of the voice, expecting to see a slightly older, eccentric, adventurous-looking gentleman.
Okay. Can you roll a recon check for me, please?
I can certainly do that. Can I add some intellect or education?
You can have
social?
streetwise if you prefer.
Thank you. What's my characteristic with it?
It'll be intellect with this. Yeah.
Okay. Well, either recon or whatever makes no difference to me. She can do it, just not very well. Well, that's a 6 plus 0 plus 2 is 8.
Okay. The bar has, from your perspective as you peer in, a couple of people sitting in the far corner. Because of the angle you're looking through the doorway, you can see the far corner really well. They seem to be sort of bent low over their drinks, trying desperately to ignore the booming voice of somebody from closer to the bar, but the bar itself is not in view from where you are.
Agnar, that's certainly the Claymore is certainly a lead on what we need. Let's go and say hello to an old friend. Come on.
No, okay, sure. If you insist.
Oh, if it's
heaven forbid I should keep you away from a bar.
And if it is who I think it is, he really took a liking to you.
Oh no.
Okay, you make your way into the bar. Now, here's a little interesting historical note. Behind the bar is Tim. The original Tim.
Is it
the
really?
very first one?
Oh,
First Tim.
Wow, and he's still on shift, bless him.
He's I tell you, he works a lot of hours, this Tim.
It's only been about 2 days, Luke.
This is the ununionized Tim.
Yeah. And the bar itself has one person sitting at it. There is a Tim behind the bar. There are 2 occupied tables you can now see. One with those the couple sort of crouched low over it. Another a group of 4 sitting around with clearly on their sort of nth drinks and looking reasonably relaxed as a consequence. But directly opposite where the Tim is standing looking as if he wishes there were fire escapes or something, is a middle-aged man, a slightly faded form of adventurer, wearing well-used spacer's gear with a very large handgun strapped to his thigh, um, and giving a slight Indiana Jones vibe, if you know what I mean. Um, he is someone you recognize immediately, Otto Nieder. He is holding a small drink in his fist and waving it around enthusiastically as he talks about his past. It it's one of those moments where as you come in and you see Tim's eyes sort of flicker towards you, um, he immediately looks relieved and says, "Ah, I just need to deal with these customers," and sort of steps to the side and sort of it looks like he's hoping for help.
As Cara approaches the bar, Soraya barges past instead, very excited to see OG Tim.
Mm.
Tim, how you
Ah,
doing?
this is a treat.
Oh, it's a treat for me too. Things been well? Got much sleep recently?
Uh, Not as much as I'd like, but yes, I'm well. Um, Now mimosas all round.
Oh, she sort of glances up at Otto Nieder deep in the middle of his speech. There's a better make it two, and one each for those sitting over there. Look like they need it.
Okay. um, all of the others in your group slowly slink up to the bar and place some orders. Um, is Soraya picking up the tab?
So Rye will pick up the tab. She's feeling very generous right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
Then you have a total of 6 in your party at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
unless you decide to bring Kat with you for this bit. But I think you were leaving her on the ship for this bit, weren't you?
Yeah.
And with the other drinks you're ordering, that will come to 55.
Oh, I'm not feeling that generous. Okay, Tim. I'll tell you what. I don't like her. I like to deal in zeros. So have 60. Keep the other 5 for yourself. I think it looks like you're earning it this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Um, and as you're sort of chatting and gathering, Otto Nieder turns to his left, where you all are sort of up at the bar, and catches sight of the group of you, and immediately sees Agnar, quite a distinctive looking Varga, and he says, "General? General, I last saw you at the Cadence."
Otto, is that you? Wow, you're looking very well. I'm sure the last time I saw you, I thought you were about 60, but it's probably the amount I'd had to drink and the poor lighting in the bar area. How are you?
About 60. Um, yes, I'm well, thank you. Um, are you are you stopping here for fuel or something?
Yes, something. Yes. What about yourself? Are you only just passing through?
Ah, there's a story.
Oh well, please indulge me. You know how much I. Surely you remember how much I love a story.
We should get a table. We should settle in. This is going to be a while.
Yes, yes.
Remember what it's like last time, Ragnar.
I do. And Agnar will look around the room, perhaps somewhere away from prying ears. Is this a private story?
Good idea. And voices down. He booms.
Yes, exactly. Uh, Remind me later to introduce you to a new member of our crew, Kagsy,
Ah,
with a similar air about you. You're obviously much more renowned and distinguished and adventuring type, but a definite air. I think you'd get along.
Yes. Sounds like my sort. He's courageous and enthusiastic and entirely buried in his work.
Yes. Loves a good story though. Loves a good story. Come, let's find a table. Kara, you joining us?
Cara looks around in the desperate
You
hope
remember
there
Cara.
might be there might be something else that she could say she's doing. She's thinking of water the plant. There's no dartboard. I'm not talking to these two. Yes. Hi, Mr. Nida, Otto. What a pleasure to see you again. She holds out her hand for a dainty lady's hand kiss. If he takes it, he's a dashing adventurer after all.
He does. Yep. And enthusiastically kisses her hand, and then having been given that invitation, of course, grabs Zoe's and kisses hers as well, and she sort of looks at him like she's working out where to stick the knife, if you know what I mean. But she doesn't pull away. She doesn't look all that keen. And then he throws an arm around Soraya's shoulder and another one around Kara's and sort of marches the two women off towards the table in the corner.
Ah, Mr. Need, have you been working out?
Ah, there's a story. Yes, I could talk about that.
Just the. I feel like there's other stories to talk longer about. I don't want to send you on a side story when no doubt there's more exciting ones to tell.
Probably. I could tell you about the time I met the pirates. That was a good story.
Let's start with what was the first one? The first one we suggested, I think, was what on earth you're doing here? With such a group of scallywags,
well,
such as ourselves.
Let's see. Where to start? So, about 30 years ago,
Oh God!
I was a young adventurer, fresh out of my military service, and looking for a way to make some money and make my name. And I blundered from bar to bar, thinking that the only skills the military had taught me that were any use were how to hold my liquor. And that was pretty much it. So, so I traveled from place to place looking for opportunities. I took an occasional odd job working security for one ship or helping out with stewarding duties on another. Actually, I should tell you about this one time when I was working security on this liner, and it was tremendous. We had two Aslan come aboard, and it turned out they didn't know each other, but they were from like rival clans, and they hated each other. And the entire ship was geared up to try and keep these two apart, because if they were in the same space for more than a few seconds, they would, immediately.
Agnar just quickly pulls out his communicator and sends a message to Kara, and just says, "Remind me again. Do we know where or for whom he's under he served?"
No.
No, sadly not. Cara will interject though. So this is very, very interesting. I'd love to hear though again about your story of your time on the Claymore.
The Claymore. Oh, my word.
Now there's a ship, eh?
So, about 30 years ago, I was traveling from place to place, minding my own business, and I bumped into this mad old sailor. And he
Cara
was
will nudge Agnes over, just like we're doing now.
he was long gone. You know, he could barely string three words together, but I did manage to get one word from him, which was claymore. And I thought that's an interesting word because he didn't carry a claymore. Um, he didn't look like someone who carried a claymore. And it wasn't until I'd had a few drinks with him to calm his temper that he revealed he'd served aboard the Claymore. And the Claymore, the name rang a bell. I looked it up, and the Claymore was this ancient dreadnought that went missing due to a jump mishap. Um, it happens from time to time, and I wondered if he'd left the ship before the jump. But no, according to him, he had left the ship after the jump. Um, they'd taken escape pods and set off in all different directions in the hope that one of them would encounter a planet. And as far as he knew, none of them did, but he did eventually get picked up close to death by a passing merchant ship. And they didn't know what to do with him. He was the isolation and the fear had driven him quite mad. So they dropped him off at this obscure little space station in the middle of nowhere, and I bumped into him in the bar where people would buy him the occasional drink or a sandwich to just keep him going, um, out of the goodness of their heart. And I realised, of course, that this bar was therefore probably the closest drinking hole to the Claymore. And I thought, this is interesting because people haven't found it, but this is a well traveled area of space. And there have to be logs, sensor logs of people's jumps, where as they come close to an object of sufficient mass, the jump can automatically end. And ships, they detect this and they monitor this. So I thought if I could get access to the logs of various ships coming in and out, I could probably work out which direction the Claymore was in. Well, that took months of bribery and corruption, which I'm not proud of. But eventually I managed to pinpoint pretty much where I thought the Claymore was. And then I created some entirely fictional papers identifying myself as a salvage specialist for the Imperial Navy, and managed to fast talk someone into jumping out of system just a little way to where I thought it was. And lo and behold, that's where it was. Came upon it, completely intact, everything dead but functional. Um, Immediately staked a claim, sent a message, indicated that this was my find, and the Imperial Navy, tremendously grateful Navy, I tell you, turned up, took possession of it, refueled it, and flew it off somewhere. Never really got to the bottom of what happened to it, but the key thing is, it made my name. From that point on, I was Otto Nieder, the famed discoverer of the Claymore. Ah, been looking for another find like that ever since.
Hmm. Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I could do with another drink. I get another round in. Would you like a sandwich or something, Otto?
Not a
Just the drink.
sandwich, no, but another drink would be much appreciated.
Mr. Needer, um, I remember before you spoke about um, spidery aliens aboard the ship. It sounded quite terrifying.
There were spidery aliens.
How did you fare? Like, you're still alive, obviously, but there must have been moments of bravery taking them on when you thought that your life was surely at risk.
Absolutely. So, that story. When I got to the Claymore, I found myself thinking there could be valuable stuff inside, and it needs to be assessed and it needs to be checked. And indeed, I went aboard through the airlock, which needed to be manually powered from outside. My my pilot was enthusiastic about seeing inside this vast ship, and I said to him, as you do, no, this is an imperial salvage operation, and I'm the one who has the authority here. You stay here, and I'll go and check it out. So I went aboard, checked out the bridge, checked out the sort of central avionics bay, and checked that it still had uh, weapon systems and all sorts of things. None of them were still operating with power. You understand, the fuel reserves had long gone, but they all seemed to be fully functional. And then I thought I would go and check out the engines. Well, the Claymore was a very big ship, dreadnought, dreadnought class, and and so I decided to head all the way back to the engines. Well, wouldn't you know, I got perhaps 100 meters, though now I think about it, it may have been 10. But anyway, a little way down the main companionway leading from the bridge back towards the engine areas, it's a complicated ship. There were big gantries and stairwells and all sorts of things that connected different parts of the ship together. Um, I found myself confronted with this large alien creature, and I thought, this is potentially interesting. And I thought that as I ran very fast back to the bridge, into the airlock, and sealed the doors.
Uh, Sometimes retreat is the best form of valor. Live to fight another day.
It is essential. Essential. So when I reported the location of the Claymore, I also reported the infestation of alien spider creatures. Um, you see, it transpired, though I didn't know it at the time, that the reason everyone had abandoned ship when they did was because of the alien infestation. Um, and they felt unsafe on board the ship waiting for a rescue that might be months or years away. So they left the ship full of food and all sorts of resources, but they were all keen to depart. As far as I'm aware, the other members of the crew perished in space in their little shuttles and escape pods, which is really very sad. But the Imperial Navy were quite excited to discover that the ship was infested with alien creatures. They thought that was quite interesting, and they sent an expert, a biologist, to examine them. And when he was killed, they sent a few more. And it turned out that they were of interest to imperial science. So, I felt really quite good about that.
It's a it's a wonderful story, Agnar. It's even better the second time we've heard it, don't you think?
Agna comes back with a tray of drinks. Did you say that was 55, Ben?
55, yep.
Something like that. Yes, it certainly was. Tell me, you mentioned your next big find, or going out in search of your next big find. How goes those adventures?
Ah, well, you understand such things are rarely spoken of except among friends. But luckily, you are friends. So, have you ever heard of the Kelleran?
Oh.
No, I haven't. Please.
Oh, yeah.
The Kelleran, a large warship, experimental in design, with the latest in jump drive technology, intended to be the first of a huge class of powerful vessels. Well, it jumped away um, back in, got to be 20 years ago now. and was never heard from again. Just up my alley, you might think. Exactly the kind of thing that gets a man like me all excited.
I think we'd have noticed if it was just up your alley.
Do large things often go up your alley, Mr. Needham?
I'm not entirely sure I follow. So the jump, which came from a star base on a place called Ginning. Lots of people have been to Ginning. It's unusual now to find people there, but it is a place where a man who knows how to weasel his way into places can, in fact, find his life a little bit. It's there's a naval base there, and even though the population is reasonable, it's one of those places they encourage you to stay away from, for reasons that, well, let's not get into that. Anyway, leaving the naval station at Ginning, this ship was supposed to make this enormous jump to Brytsee. And everyone was very excited about its potential. This was not its longest jump capability, by all accounts, but it was the longest jump it was prepared to make on its sort of first workup cruise. And in that journey, it disappeared. Now, when a starship disappears, it can misjump to almost anywhere. But I always believed that the ship probably made it quite close to Brytsee. And then I found on Dillabrew this place that sold antique space junk. And I pick through these places from time to time because you never know what you might find. And I found a piece of an old ship's boat. Turned it over. They were selling it on, I think, as spare parts or something. And on the inside, it had the code number for the Kelleran. So I asked where it came from. Apparently, it was snagged by a ship scooping fuel not very far from Brytsea. Got wedged in its fuel scoops. And when they arrived at Dillabrew, they dislodged it and threw it away, and it ended up in this sort of junk pile. And I thought, well, that means not only was the ship aiming for Brytsea, but there's a fighting chance that some part of it, at least, made it.
Is that what brought you here, Mr. Needham, from when we saw you on Dillabrew? That scrap and realising that the Kelleran may have made it this far?
It is. At that point, I thought I must get to Brytsea and I must look for more clues. Of course, Brytsea isn't really a good place to find actual clues because it's a space station.
It's more booze, not clues, I'd say.
And Brytsea is an ocean world, so if anything fell into the atmosphere, it's long gone.
The Kelleran itself is vast, though, isn't it, Mr. Leader? A very large ship.
The Kelleran, yes, by all accounts, enormous, about 1 million tons.
It would be noticed if it fell into Brytsea. There are many platforms, of course, for the miners. Someone would have seen it if it had landed in the planet.
And given that the ocean in places is not that deep, I suspect if it didn't burn up on re-entry, It might be visible above the water.
That suggests that it's still out there somewhere in the system, does it not?
My thoughts exactly.
Have you found the ship
Ben,
and a
quick.
crew? Sorry, say again.
No, no, no. go
No,
on.
point of fact for you is important. Prioritise.
It was just a quick out of game question. Jump technology 20 years ago, what would have been top of like cutting edge jump technology? How relevant is that today?
The jump he's talking about from Guinea to Brytsee is a 6 parsec jump, which is as far as any ship can routinely jump, even if it's geared up for the max.
Oh, it's not on this map. That's a shame.
If the ship could have jumped further than that, it would be a remarkable and exceptional vessel. Genuinely experimental technology, and still would be today.
Yeah, so the technology is still very relevant.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry, Luke. Do go on.
No, that's a good point of order. I remember you saying before, Mr. Needer, that you were looking for a ship and a crew to find this Kelleran with you. Have you found that yet?
For some reason, the people coming through here don't seem all that interested. They're always on their way to Tufa or Nagasa or wherever. They're not interested in a treasure hunt. It's a shame, I think. But one day, if I wait long enough, some adventurous sort will come through. And then we'll just have to work out where to jump to. Because obviously a ship that size, if it were in system, it would have been spotted.
An adventurous crew, an adventurous ship. Agnar, they can't come this way very often, I would assume.
Well, I mean, there's not too much adventure around these parts, is there? I can't imagine many people. They might use it as a stopover, I suppose.
Very few people come to Geeka purely, Brytsee purely to look for adventure.
Or Geeka.
Or Geeka, no, you go there for the sport. And Earth Park, not that we can anymore.
No. That's a story for another day, though.
Indeed it is. Oh, Mr. Needer. Do you have any clue at all what system nearby? The Kelleran, have you been able to cancel any out? Narrow things down a little?
Not a system, I suspect. I suspect it's out there. A 10th, a 5th of a parsec from Brytsee. Somewhere nobody goes.
Tell me, do you still have that piece of the boat? Did you purchase it, I hope?
I do have it, yes. Would you like to see it?
I would. I was just wondering whether any... I mean, Cara would know a lot more about this than I would. She's much more of a technologically minded person than I am, but whether it could be scanned or searched for clues as to the location. But I would very much love to see it.
Stop me if I'm wrong at any point, Ben. Okay, I'm going to... it's potentially 20 years old, Agnar. I think you might be able to...
It's not that old.
None of us look as old as we are. Especially you. 43, of course, is a very young age, Agnar. And you're looking wonderful on it. But like when ships jump and come out of the system, if you're near the star, for example, there would be radiation on the on the hull, on the shields.
Mhm.
There would be certain from planets or things, you would get certain debris, almost like a signature of the area you're in. It's a long time ago, and I'm no specialist, but from my computer science part of my degree, it feels like you might be able to get something. Me personally, probably not very much though.
If you had someone who was an expert in metals or chemistry or something like that, you never know.
Now, we do have some experts on materials, Agnar, after all.
Hmm.
We have two geologists that are good with rocks and precious metals.
Indeed, metals often come from rocks, so I'm led to believe.
So I've heard. That's where a lot of them are formed, I believe. So for anyone that's looking in the pictures weird, it's because I'm looking at the Baltic Star Encyclopedia. and the camera images go and I'm flicking through the encyclopedia. It's notes that Ewan and I have taken. I say Ewan generously. Notes that I've taken and put into a list so that we can go back over old information. Those would be the people that we know that know such things. I feel could be worth them, but of course, neither are on the station. We need to invite our good friend back here. I'm sure he would not want the piece of the boat to leave his side, but he could always come back for a free drink. It whispers it so that the Tim can't hear. A free drink on the Baltic Star while we ran some tests.
Yes, of course, but we'd have to keep it quick because I don't want him to be away from the station for too long and miss the opportunity to find an adventurous crew. You know, it could be the precise moment that an adventurous crew walks onto this station.
Oh, could you imagine a crew walking in at the right time, up for adventure and action and excitement? A crew that are willing and able for such things. I'd hate him to miss that.
A young and handsome crew.
Oh, I bet they'd have a dashing military officer, no doubt.
And a handsome tech whiz person.
Maybe some kind of quirky scout character used to put things together with gaffer tape and WD-40, and a slightly crazy oddball character who does somersaults for no reason.
I like to think at this point they both look down the table. No doubt. But yes, if you wish to come aboard and see the ship, and we could do what we can for your investigation, your search, your adventure, if you will.
Excellent. You see, my plan was just to search for those little perturbations in the jump tracks of incoming ships, look in their logs, as I had with the Claymore. But if you can discover something from the piece, that would be even better. Require less bribery and coercion and threatening and sleeping around. I'm probably not as good at that kind of thing anymore.
But are you good at golf, Mr. Needer? We've set up a special room from an old Terran custom. If you'd like to.
Also, do you know the rules? Because none of us do.
Never heard of it.
We don't know whether you hit the stick with the ball or hit the ball with the stick, or poke the ball with the flag, or rub yourself on the grass. We've been rubbing ourselves on the fake grass a lot, it must be said.
It doesn't sound like any sport I've encountered.
There's a hole as well. We don't quite know what to do with the hole.
Generally is.
Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, of course.
Excellent. Yes, I would love to. I will repair briefly to my quarters and return with a piece of hopefully very interesting metal.
No, we are on the Baltic Star. Just come to our docking bay. Knock twice, then once, then 3 times, and then 4 times, and then twice, and someone will let you in.
Wait, Luke, can you say that again, please?
No.
I'm gonna have to watch this episode back now.
Okay.
The canonical code.
I'm sure I'll get that.
The one with the canonical code.
He stands up, drains his drink, and says, "See you shortly," and wanders out of the bar, slightly rolling as he goes, and heads off in the direction of the accommodation zones, the other side of the lobby.
Do you think we got him? He's a hard one to read sometimes.
Well, that's because he spent most of the time looking at the female members of the crew. I don't know. He's trying to read us more than anything else. Showing off, I think.
It's because he spent a long time in the vast depths of space all by himself.
So did Soraya, and we all know what that did to her.
It's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Let's get back to the ship. Let's beat him there so we can look well professional when he turns up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put on my professional trousers. You can use your little all-body floofer machine.
Yeah, I'll give that a go. I'll leave the sash though. I think the sash might put him off. Maybe. I mean, it's adventurous, but
It's been a long time since the sash has.
Since the
raised
sash
your
has
form.
come out, yes. The destroyer of worlds sash. Yes.
maybe we'll save that for when we're on board the catamaran.
Okay.
Feels fitting.
All right. You make your way back. Tim gives you a little sort of cheerful goodbye wave, and you make your way back into the Baltic Star. A fair few of the crew are sort of curious as to this character you mentioned to them. They're interested to see what he'll be like, and it isn't very long, just a handful of minutes, before there is a loud knocking on the airlock. He seems to knock about 28 times without break. And then that's as far as he can get with your coded knock.
Kara, he's good. He knows that we want in, and he just doesn't care about the code. He knows he doesn't need to.
I'm not happy with the lack of code etiquette.
Oh yeah, but what we're going to do? We're going to not let him in and not find the catamaran. I know how excited you are about.
You know, from my days of hacking and my underground graphics, my graffiti, and that I'm a stickler for code. I'm a stickler for very few things.
Well, yeah, I remember when you tried to.
It's very important.
I remember when you tried to turn the 12342 code into. You had to do it in binary. It took forever. I'm glad we stopped that.
I converted it to Roman numerals and back again. To be honest, that sounds like what he's done. So maybe he's one step ahead of us altogether.
Maybe. Now, let's let him in. We're not going to not, are we?
Let's send someone unexpected to go get him. How about Cagsy?
Oh God. Yeah, let's do it.
Cagsy, Agnon needs to talk to you.
Drinks.
Yeah. What do you need?
Could you? We're expecting a guest. They've just knocked on the door. If you wouldn't mind showing them in and to the bar area. I think. So I'm not I'm not telling you, not ordering you around on the ship, not yet. But I think you two will get along like a house on fire, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Thanks.
What does he or she look like? What are we expecting?
They're a middle-aged human male, big gun on their hip, adventurous-looking type. I don't suppose you know. They're quite famous. They're quite famous.
Oh, good. I like the famous. Let's go and meet the famous. And he disappears off down into the bowels of the ship, and returns a couple of minutes later with a ridiculous grin on his face, leading Otto Nieder, who has tucked under his arm like a prize, a fairly grubby looking, pitted, blackened piece of metal.
How big, Ben?
About a meter by 20 centimeters, roughly.
Okay. Well, I see you two have met.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting on famously.
Agnar pauses for a minute to try and detect human sarcasm. Well, I thought you would. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kagsy. Thank you. Kara, did you say to the bar? To the bar first to drink, or would you rather?
Why don't you lead?
Would you rather get on with business?
Why don't you and Mr. Nieder and Kagsy go off for one of the slightly better whiskies, while I run this over to our trained nerds to run through a few machines, have a look at. It's clear that Mr. Nieder's keen. This possibility of a speedier chance to hunt down the Kelleran surely can't be overlooked just for the niceties of a drink together.
Looking forward to it.
You three men go off and do man things. Me and the nerd girls will do our thing in the lab. And Kara reaches behind her pocket and pulls out a pair of like chemical goggles out of nowhere,
Right, yes.
just as if to prove a point.
Yeah.
Me and the girls are going to do some science. Now off with you.
Agnar snarls mildly towards Agnar. Towards Kara.
Yes.
Not noisily, but
in
just
the mirror.
shows the teeth like thanks a lot. Come on then, let's get going. We've a fully stocked, fine selection of bar drinks. And he'll lead them off.
Yes, Otto looks thrilled about this, and he and Kags sit down and immediately place an order for Rose to fulfill. She's happily working the bar. He makes a few slightly flirtatious comments at Rose, and she grins and just very slightly flirts back with him. She's sufficiently skilled at this. It's quite hard to tell whether she actually quite likes the guy or is just humoring him. But either way, it's a pleasant sort of drinking environment.
Agnar slips her a subtle note on a bit of paper that just says, "I'm so sorry for both this and the stories. If it gets too much, let me know. Blame Kara." And just slides it across the bar and then goes to join them.
Okay.
Fickle.
Yes. Agnar, can you roll a carouse check for me, please, with intellect?
Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I haven't even warmed any dice up. Oh, that's a 12 on the dice, though. -3.
With intellect, does that include a 0 intellect?
Yes, that
Yeah.
includes a 0 intellect.
Okay. You managed to steer his conversation reasonably well to how he's explaining at the moment that the Claymore was infested with space slugs. You get the very strong feeling that every time he tells the story of the Claymore, it's just a little bit different. And you know, he's having a good time telling his story to anyone who will listen, and he's got a new audience, you know, so he's cheerfully doing so. But you do manage to get out of him one more piece of information that may or may not be relevant, which is that the ship that was refueling at Brytsee and ended up with the piece of junk stuck in its fuel scoop was a commercial transit ship for Great Rift transportation.
Ah, I see. GRT ship.
Yep. Okay. Right. So we will now move our attention to the science girls.
Agnar will fire that information over to Kara just in case that holds any relevance to their tests. Probably doesn't, but Agnar has no idea.
By this point, Kara has made it to, I'm guessing, the nerd room. I'd like to point out to viewers that the if you look at the ship, the top of the ship as is known, which in on the map it's the top of ship, I refer to it as the top of the ship. Of course, Ben refers to it as what side of the ship, Ben?
Port.
Thank you very much. That is the happy, the chilled out, the fun, the arty side of the ship. The bottom of the ship, otherwise known as
Starboard,
is the emo side of the ship. It's much more depressing. The science girls, the nerds, have taken up. They've knocked through the two cabins next to the letter I at the top of ship. The I being a spa. They've taken over those two rooms and they've knocked it through to make our own sort of laboratory, I believe. It's makeshift. But those of you that watched the catch up will have known we did spend a little bit of time there.
Luke, may I for a minute? Can I just point out a rather useful how to remember which side is port and starboard trick that I found out the other day? Apparently, which is very apt for the Baltic Star, there is no port left on the vessel. So we're not drink it.
But there's lots of port on our vessel. So that doesn't work at all.
For now there is, but shortly it will all be gone.
I like it.
Yeah. If you've ever been on a commercial flight, there's an even easier way to remember it, because all airliners board and leave from the port to the airport.
They do. You always get on the port side. Yeah.
You always get on the port.
Oh, I like your think. This is good. This is good stuff. I've only just got used to fore and aft.
Fun and emo.
Fore and aft, fun and emo. That's how I look at it. Right, front of ship, back of ship, fun and emo.
It's also useful for the red and green colours that they use to identify the sides of shipping lanes and things, because port is red, so they use red on that side of the ship.
Wow, there you go. Look at that. And you can get a green star burst. So you can get red star burst as well, so that doesn't work at all.
Anyway, yes. Port and starboard.
Right, to the fun side of the ship, please. To the nerds.
Absolutely. Yes. So you're pulling together the sort of scientifically minded. I assume that means you're going to do the work yourself and get probably Sammy to help. Is that right?
Um, yeah, so I've got the best computer stuff. I'm guessing at the whole crew as it stands. Between
Mm-hmm.
what the computer stuff I've got, plus just my skills with that kind of thing. However, I can't just sit and philosophize about a rock the whole time. So actually, having at least Sammy or Freya or both would be helpful.
Okay. All right. Um, Sammy has some geology, could be helpful. That is her sort of her core skill. Um, Freya, less useful in that regard, though she does find the same markings that Otto saw, the um, the identifier for the ship, and she starts looking up some information about the ship. But if you'd like to find out a little bit more about it, then you might want to use your computer skill rather than hers.
Fantastic. As I'm doing that, um, can I pop a message to Zoe, if that's okay?
Yeah, of course.
Um, so say something like, saying exactly, Zoe, GRT related point. Um, Otto says the ship that found the part of the Kelleran is GRT, was passing through here a while back. Perhaps you could join their conversation and find out a bit more, if that helps from your time there.
Sure. Yep, you get immediately a sort of little ping back with a thumbs up, and she sidles over to join him at the bar. We'll come back to that in a bit, but can we do the science checks first?
Of course.
Or
Yeah.
sorry, the computer check first, probably. If
Cool.
you
Yep.
want to learn more about the ship.
Would you like to know more? Yes, I would. Right, what do I need to roll?
This will be electronics computing.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a hacking thing, so you can't use the special bonus you get
Can't
from
do
your
my
deck.
+1 hack. Yep.
But you can obviously add your intellect or education, whichever you prefer.
Well, let's go for what I've learned today rather than what I just know.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. And I'm going to try and be really cool about it. So I'm going to use my. It makes no difference. But I'm going to use my little bit that I can talk into my computer through my little headpiece, just because I look cooler doing that.
Okay.
And I paid for it, so I might as well use it.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, computer.
Nice.
I've named it. I've named my computer. I'm not telling you yet what I've named it, but I've named it. Hey, computer, could you find out all about this? I've rolled a 7, but that's plus a 3, so that is a 10, please.
Nice.
Okay. All right. There's a lot of basic information about the Kelleran, like a sort of effectively its Wikipedia page, which anybody could find fairly quickly, which tells you that the vessel was indeed approaching 1,000,000 tons in size. She was the first of a brand new class of very high speed, long range battle cruisers. And as such, carried a spinal mount weapon intended to be able to eviscerate a moon with a single hit. She was covered in weapon systems, extremely elaborate and expensive equipment. But what made her special was that she was intended, unusually for a battle cruiser, to operate routinely at jump 6 and carried fuel for more than that and an experimental drive that could allow her to potentially make jump 7 had she needed to. On her first trip, she didn't do a jump at all, and everything shook down quite nicely in orbit. And then on her second trip, she tested the jump capabilities with a journey to somewhere called Al5, which was close to Guinea, and that was a jump two basically, and then took another jump two back, and everything seemed fine. And then on her third shakedown cruise, still long before she would have been fully commissioned, still filled with military personnel, but also engineers who were working on finishing off the ship's systems, she took a jump intended to take her to Brytsee and was never seen again. But with your skills, you also get some quite unusual stuff about the ship. A little bit of detail about the experimental drive system, which is, there's an enormous amount of technical information about how it was supposed to work. But basically, the idea was that rather than simply encapsulate the fuel for a jump, the new drive system would allow you to feed the fuel in mid-jump, extending it to potentially almost limitless capabilities as long as you could have enough fuel for the journey. The concept is largely experimental, and they'd done tests on a much smaller scale, which had proved largely successful. But this was the first time they were doing it on a full-scale ship. The sheer size of the machinery meant that it could only really be done on a very big ship at that time. And if you look at images of the ship, you can clearly see that at its heart, it's a very pointy structure, so that it could operate in atmospheres and cut through denser surfaces and actually land on planets if needed. Unusual for a ship of that size, very unusual for a ship of that size, but intended to be a flexible explorer as much as anything else because of the sheer range that she was expected to have. Mounted underneath and on top of the main plane of the vessel were these two on each side, above and below the sort of wing-ish. They're not really wings, but the sort of triangular extensions of the hull as you head backwards. 4 enormous tanks for fuel, and they were intended to dramatically increase the ship's range. However, the first time she jumped with those attached, never seen again. You've got reasonably detailed plans, not only of the ship, but also of all the various small craft it carried, and enough detail to probably be able to locate where on the vessel the plate originated, if it can be successfully identified.
Fantastic. That is a lot to take in. Kara's feeling quite smug with herself for her findings. Glances over at Sammy to see if she's having any luck with her initial proddings of the piece.
Let's see. Okay, that's pretty good. She says the actual chemical composition of the scarring on it and scoring on it may take a while, but she actually holds it up for you to see and says, this is a fairly substantial plate from a ship's boat. either torn free of the vessel or launched. But look at it. And she holds it up sort of in a line, and it appears to be, in addition to being sort of pitted and damaged from time being bombarded by space dust, cosmic radiation, and whatever else has happened to it, it's also weirdly kind of almost crinkled, like it's a piece of paper, which is not something you're used to seeing in a piece of metal that thick.
Have you? That's not normal, is it, Sammy? That's not some.
That's like something was put through, I don't know, high gravity or extremely high acceleration or something. I don't know. Maybe heat could have done it, but it's unusual.
So it's high gravity, high acceleration, high
Possibly
heat.
heat.
That's how big is the star in the Brytsee system, Sammy?
Nothing particularly unusual. It's a it's a perfectly decent star, but it's nothing all that unusual. It's if I remember correctly, it's a main sequence red dwarf, so
Okay.
nothing particularly special.
There's no black holes near, like too far away, is there, Sammy?
No, nothing like that.
It's the thing's going quick, and it's the furthest and quickest it's ever gone. Good readings to good initial readings to send back to Nida. I'm putting off going. You can tell, Sammy, from all the questions I'm asking. But I suppose I better leave you to take on your further investigations. You've got something to tell him, at least.
Yeah.
And hopefully Zoe can take his focus away when I return back.
Okay. She's starting to examine the actual scoring, the sort of materials on it. And as she does so, she lets out a little sort of gasp of surprise. And she says, This is unusual. I mean, really unusual. Hmm. Okay. This is going to sound weird, but I think I might be able to get you a direction, roughly.
From that bit of metal? Really?
It's possible. Each star produces different spectra, different light. And it depends on the chemical composition and the intensity of the star. And this piece of metal has been baked in space for a really long time. I think we can identify which stars it's been bathed by, principally. Once we take out Dillabrew, we can find Brytsee, and if we can find anything else, I mean, it's going to be delicate work, but maybe we can identify which side of Brytsee it is. If we get lucky.
That's incredible. That's even more than I thought we'd be able to do. Sammy, you're a legend.
I won't be able to give you a distance or anything like that.
A direction's a good start.
Okay. That's good then. We'll try it. And she settles down to work. So you head back towards the bar?
Yeah, very slowly, of course, hoping that the three of them plus a Zoe is a
Yeah,
well and truly buried in.
Zoe is sitting chatting with Otto and trying to get a little bit of information out of him. I'll try a carouse check for her. It's not particularly strong. He's not giving up the information she wants in order to identify the actual ship or type of ship that was that had the bit of junk in it.
Kara messages Agnar just to let him know. Found some bits on my way. Is he on good form?
Yeah, very much so. We're all, sharing stories, jokes, funny anecdotes. It's good times. Come and join us.
Yeah, if I must.
Yeah, exactly. She takes a breath, puts her nerd goggles back into her bum bag. Boys, Zoe, how's it going? Sorry to bump in on a lads' night out.
And so I said to the Admiral, "That's okay. That's not my shoe." Oh God! fancy seeing you here.
Oh, I tell you, Agner, I've heard you tell the end of that story 30 times, but never the beginning.
One day. But that's about me. What have you found out?
Well, a lot about the Kelleran. You know my skills. Sammy reckons she might be able to find kind of a direction from here. She's using some crazy science mumbo jumbo. Not a distance, but somewhere where a crew could point their ship and shoot off in the hope they might be able to find it. That's pretty cool, I think. Like, it'd probably be helpful if we knew a bit more about who'd got the piece, maybe. You guys not brought that up at all, Agnar? You not talked at all about the other ship? You've just been talking about your military times?
Well, one thing led to another, and you know how these things go. Between me, Kagsy, and our new friend here telling stories, it's been a raucous old time. It was a GRT ship.
And immediately Otto says, "Yeah, and apparently Zoe here used to work for them. Brilliant! What a coincidence!"
Yes, isn't it? We've got so many skills and surprising things on this ship. A real crew that have had many separate adventures. Wouldn't you say, Agnar?
Yes, a motley crew, you might say, but in the best way possible.
Exactly, on this ship in Brytsee right now. Wow.
And would you all like to make carouse checks with intellect?
With subtlety. I would actually. I feel very confident about it.
Yeah, go on then. As I have nothing better to use. I was just having a little look. No, I don't think so. Mine was a 9 minus 3 plus 0, just to make myself feel better rather than minus 0.
Mine's just a 5, but plus 4, which is a 9.
Oh,
It's a skill, even though she's stone cold sober compared to you drunkards.
Okay. You do manage to sort of get him back talking on the right way, and he eventually says, yeah, the ship. Let me think. It was it was a while ago now. A B something. The B1. No. B7. No. B17. It was the B17. B17B. Or something. And hearing this, Zoe sort of leans in to sort of help him a little bit and says, possibly the B771? That's the one. Yes, remember it distinctly. It was the B771. Oh, what does that mean?
That is a really catchy name.
And Zoe smiles and says, actually, that could be useful. Maybe. Thank you. And that's where we'll take our break.
Sweetie. Right. Everyone go. Do what you need to do. Go to the loo. Fill your glasses. No, yeah, but go briefly. Come back though. Grab yourself a snack. Put the cats out. Plant a tree. Whatever you need to do. Find out what happened to the Admiral's shoe. And if you do, let me know. And we'll be back in 5 minutes for the all-important toast and the last, 45 minutes, hour or so of tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
So please don't wander far. I'm excited. I want to know more about what's going on, and I hope you do too. Right, now bear with me while I have to do some shenanigans. There should be some music. Hopefully Hopefully that's some kind of graphic hidden behind something that I should put up already. Let's get rid of that. There we go. That's a break time. Let's go between 5 and 10. On then. Let's see. I reckon 7.5. Let's go for a 7.5 break. That feels reasonable. Don't sucking the air out between you. I need to open the news, by the way. Right. Go. Hello, everyone. We're back for part 2. Ben.
So, have you ever wondered why years have a start and an end? We're constantly confronted with things that are cyclical and endless. We decide that days change at midnight, which seems logical, but if you really think about it, wouldn't it usually make more sense to have them change at about 4 in the morning when most people are asleep? Or is that just how my life works? As for years, for most of human history, most human cultures have set the beginning of the year to be at the start of spring, when things begin to grow again. That's why the ancient Roman culture had its new year at the beginning of March. That's why the months between September and December are literally named 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Each culture, for its own reasons, in its own time, needed a way to mark each year consistently. So that meant you had to pick a point where the new year happened. Across the Third Imperium, we are just a couple of days from the new year, a time of celebration and optimism. And we celebrate this moment with a raised glass at midnight. And it is true that we need a really good barman in this moment more than any other. On the Baltic Star, though the drinks still flow and the bar is still stocked, we all miss our first and greatest barman, lost in action long ago. It is why we raise our glasses now to toast his memory. To the late, great Greyhill Bast.
To the late great Greyhill Bast.
The late great Greyhill Bast.
Okay. So, Zoe says, I know that ship, and I know it does a lot of laps around this part of space. You were talking about getting the jump logs from vessels. Well, there's a GRT office on that space station. If we could convince them or steal it, whenever the ship comes in, obviously they download all of their logs. So maybe we could get the information from them. And Otto sort of looks stunned. It's like, well, that's perfect because that's exactly what I need. But nobody shares jump logs with me because apparently I'm not official.
Well, then I suppose we have to convince them or steal it. Or Kara?
What I need is a FF plan. Apparently.
What are you going to do with an FF plan?
Well, knowing where that's coming from, it probably involves a minute of talking about something to someone. But once that's done, I don't. We got so much talent on the ship. What could go wrong?
Well, I was about to say what could go wrong, but also what could go right. Tell us how.
Well, no. If I could, if from my thinking, there's various points we could take. Zoe, how long ago did you leave GRT?
Effectively, I sent in my notice when we got to Osin the first time.
That's only a month and a bit ago. Has it got there by now?
Feels longer.
Yeah, it's a bit longer than that.
6 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, maybe 2 months. Yeah, it'll have spread across GRT.
Oh yeah, it's now because we've travelled a bit now, haven't we? Okay.
Those last 3 weeks.
We met when we first met you. We met you here. They'd still recognise you, right?
Yeah.
Now, even if you can't sweet talk them, there's a chance that between Stefan's sneakiness and my IT skills, we might be able to get in and get something on, right? Hack in, sneak something in, hack in remotely, do something, right?
It's worth a try.
Am I feeling like a three-person plan? Could you take their attention, talk old times, Stefan, get in, wire me up, get something in so I can plug in remotely and hack? Do we, I feel like Stefan's. Have you looked at Stefan recently? I think he's put on about 1.5 stone the last 2 weeks. He's not been doing very much. I'm worried about the boy.
It all sounds entirely plausible. And even if I'm not an employee anymore, we can probably talk old times, yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. If we could, if you can. How many people are normally manning the front desk at any one time there?
Usually one.
I guess in a place like this, it's don't overman it. Like when we went to refuel, it was just one guy up there at any one time.
It's not what you'd call a busy station.
My only thought, as a well-respected member of society that I am, I'm not adverse to the odd heist here and there. Is the ship still in system? Could we? Would they keep the records on? Would the records still be on ship, or are they all offloaded? Could we? He looks over at Kara. Could we blue spark them?
I don't know, it depends if the ship's in system, if it's through. Like that ship could be anywhere by now. We could have a look, see if it's in. But I don't know if, like, quite often the big ships download their black boxes, and
To be fair, it might be harder
than just going to the.
From what we got on the station. The station was pretty.
There could be a lot of people on the ship, but there might only be one person in the office, one person in the office. I like thinking though. You do like a bit of an exciting mission, don't you?
Well, mostly I mostly like to watch movies about them, but
yeah, you're a heist fan. A heist fiend, I think. I want to involve you in this heist somehow, Agnar. Preferably wearing the Destroyer of Worlds sash. Even if you're not doing anything else, could you just sit in the bar wearing the sash?
Yeah. I mean, if there's no part for me to play, I will reluctantly sit in the bar wearing the sash.
Could
away
you wear
from all danger?
Could you wear an earpiece and keep touching it every now and again to look like you're sort of relaying important information and telling us what to do? It's a good
yeah. Of course I could.
And as a true general, you're leading from the rear, in the wine tent.
That has been said many a time. Hey, if you could hack some of their security systems, I could literally give you information about where the person on the station is at any time. Should they not take up the conversation?
I like to think.
Anyway, small details.
This is making sense. Zoe, from your time, how do shift patterns work for those working here? When's the best time? When would you say, from your experience of passing through, when's the best time to engage someone in a chat? Early shift, mid shift? I'm guessing not end shift. They want to get out of there.
As long as they're not busy, as long as they're not a ship coming through, they usually turn up to do a few hours worth of office work and responding to messages and things each day. Anytime they're in the middle of that, they can usually enjoy a break. So I'd give it an hour or two, and then see what's up.
Nice. Do they have to stay on desk, or do you think you could get them away and get them to like put up the old "gone for 20 minutes" sign?
Oh, as long as there's no one coming through, they wouldn't expect visitors in person. You can easily distract them away. Used to do it all the time. We'd go and gamble a bit, or have a drink, or just eat lunch together. Okay, I'm not staff anymore, but they might remember me. You never know.
If you could get that in, and then suggest a friendly little gamble for old time's sakes, that might
Oh,
buy us some time.
Agnor, you could play that old role. Remember years ago, like a few years back, you used to play that sort of that Fargo with the funny sort of the funny accent. You played that old gambler, the one that wore the cravat and from a rich home. Do you remember? You could play that role again. That was a great character.
Do you think that would work? Do you think, Zoe, you could get an old gambler from your ship on board for a game?
Don't see why not. Give it a try anyway.
It's an interesting idea. I like it. I'd need to get the old cravat pressed and stained. But...
it's been a long time since I've seen it. Did you get the stain out?
No, but I feel it adds to the character.
Okay. It's definitely a bright colour.
Well, as all good stains should be.
Every stain tells a story. Nice. This is good. So if we get them out, if Stefan can get me in, keep anyone away, bluff people away, and make sure no one comes up to the desk while I'm there, then I can do my stuff. I can find out. This sounds perfect.
Yeah, you're the tech, you're the know-how, you're the in. Stefan gives you a little guidance and or protection.
And you can do somersaults.
Zoe and I are the distraction.
So you know what this is a good old-fashioned heist. Shall we do the old clanking the glasses on the desk and chanting in the old-fashioned heist way that we do?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, come on. Let's do it. Nida, join us with it. Come on. Heist.
He joins in. He has no idea what's going on, but he joins in enthusiastically because there's a drink involved. Heist. Okay. So what do I do?
You keep Cag's company. He gets very lonely in here on his own.
Excellent.
You also need to think up some kind of story to tell in the future.
They don't think up stories; they just happen.
Well, no, I know, but hopefully this one will involve you a lot more than it necessarily does.
Yeah.
And forget about us. Just think about how you could have done this by yourself.
We I promise you that when we discover the Caloran, there'll be glory for all.
heist, 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 heist.
Okay, so what's the plan?
First things first, we need to know what time the next person's on shift, how long we've got. If it gives us a few hours to touch grass, literally, I'm going into that cabin and rubbing myself on it, then all the better.
You'll have a couple of hours before Zoe's sort of ideal time for approaching the worker.
Yes, sir. Agnar.
No, sorry, ignore me. I was just going to say we can totally work that out, right? Because we asked them about their shift patterns when we were on station. So yeah, but it doesn't matter because Ben told us.
Yeah, straight from the
'Cause he
horse's
knew.
mouth. Yeah, the all-seeing, all-powerful god of the game.
Indeed.
God, I played terribly.
So, swing back by on the Baltic Star, or do you want to take a? Do you want to take a shuttle? Is that less?
It's
But
on
you're
the airlock.
not onto the ring, so you can just walk through.
We're airlocked still. Well, well, if Agnar, if you'll join me for whatever a round of golf is in the room for the next couple of hours, then we can. I think you have to move yourself around the room multiple times carrying different items. Once with the ball, once with the stick, once with the flag. Then you find things to put in the hole while rubbing yourself with the grass. We'll do that.
And the other team has to stop you, obviously.
Yeah. It'll be me and you versus Nida and Kagsy, and then they can go back to drink. And
Okay.
Although, if we've only got a couple of hours, I feel as though I should prepare for my role.
You do need to iron the cravats, of course, and get the accent right.
I need to iron the cravat, the pruning,
The pruning.
the machine that makes me look
The
pretty.
pruning must begin.
Needs to do a lot of work.
The older you get, the more pruning it takes.
Fair
enough.
Truth.
Have you worked on the accent recently?
No, I have not worked on the accent.
Oh, it's not bad. It's nearly as good as it used to be, though.
Thanks. I'm trying.
You used to roll the R's a little bit more, though.
Whatever do you mean?
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's okay. I purposefully chose a sentence that didn't have R's in. They're becoming more and more difficult, so I'm trying to just avoid them entirely.
It's true. I don't blame you. Ever since the time that woman said she nice R's and you took it the wrong way. Very, very embarrassing evening. Very embarrassing. Sorry to bring
What a
it up.
scene! I mean, not only was that embarrassing, but the reaction afterwards, it just descended into mayhem.
Oh, terrible. Go on, your cravat. I'll drag Zoe to play with me instead.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
So this game you're playing, it sounds like it's going to be an athletics dex plus dex.
Are we actually playing the game?
Yes, make them roll, Ben. Make them roll.
Yep, you want to roll athletics dex against Zoe? That's absolutely fine with me.
No, she's with me. She's with me.
Oh, she's on your team, is she?
Yeah, girls versus boys.
Funny that.
Nida and Kagsy. I have no idea how it works. We're just making it up. We've basically lined the whole room with fake grass. There's a load of random golf equipment just on the grassy floor, and there's been no good holo vids on how it works. All we know is that we need to wear +4s and jaunty caps when we go into play. That's all we know.
Okay.
And then we just make up the rules when we get there.
All right. Well,
Nice.
Let's find out how it goes. Can you roll an athletics dex plus dex for me, please?
I can. Okay, that is
Otto did not do well.
nor did Cara. That is a flat 4.
It was a 3
Oh, I did better than Emily.
for Nida, but a 6 for Kags.
Oh, Kagsy. Kagsy knows.
and a 14 for Zoe.
Yeah. Zoe's that annoying sort of person that just picks everything up, even if she doesn't quite know what's going on.
Well, she rolled a 10, and her dex is pretty good. Okay. So, the girls comfortably win the game of golf. Or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Hole in one.
Probably. Yeah. This clearly is not Otto's game. He really suffered at this game. This is not his strength. But at the end of a little bit of farting about, you have managed to have a bit of entertainment and enjoyed yourselves.
Oh.
Which, let's face it, is more than most golf rounds can achieve.
Exactly. It's better than normal golf. Wonderful.
So your version is clearly the superior version. Right. So who's going where and to do what? What's the plan in order? You're sending Zoe in to distract.
And then, so I think, Agnar, you need to go to the casino and set yourself up with your role, with the fact that Zoe will distract and hopefully bring them in to gamble against you as some sort of, I don't know, mark or something like that. A bit
Or introduce me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once they're cleared, we'd like to get Stefan, with Johnny lurking in case Stefan's rubbish. Stefan to help get Kara in, and then just make sure no one else approaches it. Stefan's very good at bluffing people away, I think.
Okay.
And then Kara can get in, get the door shut behind her, and do what she needs to do to try and hack in, I guess. So we will need Zoe, Agnar, Stefan, Johnny, Kara.
Okay. So Zoe goes to find the person, brings them to the gambling table, where Agnar will be waiting.
Yep.
Okay. And then Stefan, Kara, and Johnny will go to the office and see what they can achieve between them.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
All right. Okay. Then what we will do is this. Our 5 heroes.
Oh, and they are heroes.
And they are. Will go aboard the space station separately, so they're not seen like as a group. Not that they're exactly secretive about this, but they can go off on separate things. So essentially, Zoe and Agnar can go on together, and then audibly sort of say goodbye to each other and walk off in different directions. So it won't be a shock if Agnar is known to Zoe when they get to the gambling table, in case anyone sees them together. And then later, the other 3 can come along once they get the word. Sounds reasonable?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what we will do is we will get the heist underway. So Agnar and Zoe get onto the station lobby, and Agnar, are you going straight to the gambling tables?
Yes, that will be the plan. He'll quietly mention to Zoe some way on the way down. Ran into Cags on his way back to the bar, and I noticed he had a bit of a hole in one of his sleeves. Was that you?
He is not good at golf.
Well,
Apparently,
well
I'm a natural.
And then he'll nonchalantly walk off in the other direction.
Okay. All right. You walk off into the Nova section where the bars and the other public entertainment areas are. And if you remember, right down at the end, beyond the bar, there's a there's the casino area. So you walk into the casino section, and as you do, sort of glancing behind you, you can see Zoe making her way in the other direction into one of the multi-purpose modules where accommodation and offices and rentable space on the station is found. And Zoe walks along the corridor, and still pretty much in sight of you, suddenly turns to the right, opens a door, and disappears into the room. And that's where we'll call it for tonight.
Ah,
Heist next week. No, wait, not next week.
so close. Just
not
think
next
last
week.
time.
The week after.
Yeah, the week after. Just think last time we got through like 3 planets and 12 jumps or something crazy.
I'm glad we're back to the norm. I feel much more comfortable with this kind
Nice
of
to have a change of pace every now and then, but it's not sustainable.
We did it for 2 sessions over about 2.5 years. That's enough for me.
Yep, that was enough.
Much habit.
The air was getting all thin. I was getting a bit worried.
Such pace.
Indeed.
Didn't enjoy it at all. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ewan.
Some exciting things coming up, I feel.
Yeah. You left me crying out for more, Ben. It's very exciting. I love a heist. Right. I suppose we'd better say goodnight to this lot that are watching. At some point, might as well be quite soon.
Do we have to?
They're
They're such a lovely bunch.
Yeah, but they bore of us. That's the thing. The 3 of us are the definition of the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And you know, it's been a session, and you've got to leave them wanting a little bit more, right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
We definitely need a collab, Crit. We definitely need to collab. We'll work something good.
Oh,
Got this issue.
yeah.
If only you were a John. We have the perfect collaboration for all our Johns.
We do. Hopefully, there's a John lined up. A Johnning.
A Johnning. We need a good Johnning.
A Johnning.
A good Johnning for the new year. Looking forward to a good Johnning.
But yes, we should definitely do something, Crit. That would be really good.
Yeah, it would be enormous fun to do a little collaboration and try out something, you know, something different. We can do whatever you're interested in, to be honest.
2024 is the year of collaboration, I feel. Live performance and collaboration. That's what 2024 is.
Yes, we are very keen on trying to do a live performance in Faversham.
Definitely.
Speaking of 2024, what's the last thing we're doing in 2023?
Oh, my
Good segue. I like that.
Terrible segue. Speaking of 2024, about 2023.
He was only out by 1. That's pretty good for you.
Yeah. Well, I was just counting backwards.
God, but don't, because
which again is pretty good for you. And
but why must we linger on one of Ben's less attractive years? Can we not go back to focusing more on an even numbered year?
An even numbered year.
Yes, we do have one more stream before the year's end. So what are we doing tomorrow?
Just like a middle-aged man with an over-enlarged prostate, we have one more stream left.
One more
2023.
And it's going to be a relief.
It is going to be a relief.
Wow. And you said I was a bad segue.
Thank you, Craig. Important safety tip. Yeah. So what are we doing tomorrow night?
I don't know. We haven't discussed it yet. It's the 3 of us. What games do we play when it's just the 3 of us? That isn't Traveller.
We could do a Truth Foragers.
Oh, a 3-way Truth Foragers. We can't fight fancy when I'm there, Crit. It's It goes against the juju.
Oh, yes, we
Traveller.
could do Traveller, in fact.
What, Double Traveller?
Oh, we could.
I think
Oh,
we've done it before.
oh,
Wowza.
crit foul. No, Stormbender even. Blimey.
That's quite a controversial topic. We could do that. We've not done a double traveller in a very long time. It's quite
That's right.
exciting.
It's been a while.
It's been, I don't know, a year or more.
It means I don't have to remember all the notes. Oh, it's not learning something new, Crit. Not for 2020. 2024 is the year of... No, 2025 is the year of new games. We've already filled 24. 24 is
Next year is
collaborations.
the year of new games. It's always next year.
Always next year. Yeah, that's the truth. I got another 2 for Christmas to add to the list of 17 games I want to play and haven't.
Exciting ones, though.
No, they
Yes, we have played Maelstrom once before.
Oh, have you? We? Us? You? Not me.
I'm
us,
trying
you.
to remember. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was a Sox stream, but I'm trying to remember what the game was, what the story was.
Might not be me then.
Possibly not.
No, it's...
Yeah, but yes, we have played it before.
Why don't we have a discussion off stream? The best way to do things and not let anyone know.
Yeah, sorry for hanging you out to dry.
We will be streaming something tomorrow evening. We just haven't worked out what it'll be yet.
I thought I was clear, and then Stormbender threw a wrench, as the Americans would say, into the lard, and who knows now? All the options on the table.
Wait, into the what?
Lard.
Is that where you throw wrenches?
I had to overcompensate for the Americanness of the wrench with a very British lard. What's traditionally British? Lard. Gets it nice and greasy.
I had to throw a wrench into the Queen. Well.
Oh my God. Yes.
See, Crit's already set up our next 4 collaborations with him.
Oh,
yeah. We could have worked through his Paranoia. I'd like to try at some point, it must be said.
Yeah, I would very much like to try Paranoia. It seems like our kind of silly.
I think it's been a long time since I played Paranoia, and it was enormous fun. Very silly.
We need to get a couple of people on for that, though. It feels like the sort of game.
Gamma World is not a good idea, Stormbird. It's never a good idea.
I've got Pressure. I've got John's new Pressure book, so I'm going to read through that and see if those Dark Places needs to be shifted over to Pressure or not. There's more skills and things. It's a bit more campaign-based. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to read up on that in January and see if we're going to shift it or not. So that would be fun. I got my new Star Trek, the Captain's Log. You can play that with no GM. That's quite a fun little one. You just write Captain's Log and play it together. That could be fun.
I take it not in time for tomorrow, though.
Not in time for tomorrow, no. That's just
yeah.
And we got the one that I got ages ago that I still need to read. But it's just books are so big. When did books get so big? The one with the Tintin art.
That is the pain.
The good one with Tintin art. That's amazing. But it's just so big a book. This is why I like these little short books now. This is why Fimbra is so good. That's what I'm just like. Let's just like Fimbra every week.
I like the idea of you, Ben, and I playing
Troubleshooters Crit
solo. Yeah, good shout. Solo Star Trek with a different coloured shirt each.
Oh yes, we can be a little crew. Well. I'll read that up as a point of
at some point.
Yes. But then we still have our hello. We need to get our Troika out again at some point. We've got those Dark Places. We've got Orbital Blues. We've just got so many things we're hamstrung by. Things that we all love. Tony and Rudy.
Yeah.
What a delight it is to do so many things.
We need more weekends. That's the problem.
There aren't enough weekends in the year. You're right. There should be like 180 of them.
But what you all need to do is buy the tier 3 subscription. Tell all your mates to buy your tier 3 subscriptions. Get us up to 20,000 viewers a stream, and then I'll give up my job, and they can give up their jobs and everything, and we'll stream every night of the week. We'll do everything. Do it
Yeah, I
naked.
think that
Do it naked. We'll
works.
do hot tub streams. I'll lick pretend ears. Just do it, man. It's all good. You know? You're allowed toplessness on Twitch now, so
We have no. Yeah, I think Stormbedder, somebody might have mentioned Traveller once, but I think he got away with it.
2024 is going to be an interesting year. We'll have a discussion. We're going to go off stream now. I've got some
Yep.
wine to finish. I know Ben always has.
Yes.
So we'll have a little 20-minute chat or something. We'll see what we do.
But please do come and join us tomorrow night, about 11 o'clock-ish UK time. And,
Same time,
and
same place.
we'll have a something. We will have a something.
At Boys Baltic on X. And then me and you will both announce it during the day what we're doing. And we'll let you guys know. Right. Thanks, Captain Button. I saw you there lurking, but I don't shout out the lurkers, of course. It's a pleasure that you've been joining us from time to time. You're a wonderful person, and we thank you so much. I feel classy having you here, a member of the forces. I don't know. I got very confused then. Right. Good night, everyone. We're going to make some decisions, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful Saturday. And if we don't see you before, Happy New Year.
Good night.
Indeed.
Good night, all.
Good night.